This is where I keep my wigs and some figure boxes, but mostly wigs. These are all the ones I own right now. I think they're all the ones I'm gonna own for a while, maybe. I think I'm gonna buy one more because they cost a lot of money. So it's not too good to be spending all your funds on wigs. This is where I work. My sewing machine is down under there. But these are reference pictures for a character I'm gonna be cosplaying sometime soon. And then these are the patterns for like current things I'm working on. And then up here are just kind of general pictures of times that I've cosplayed. This actually back here is my one and only award that I've gotten at Con about a year ago. And then there are like other pictures like from Fanime and from Kinyubi that I just kind of like because they're fun. In middle school, I'd say, is when I really started getting into it. I never really like cosplayed or anything until actually last year is when I started. But I've been going to conventions ever since I was younger. There was a convention in San Francisco called WonderCon that I would go to every year, and then now I go to like tons more conventions. I saw people in costume at WonderCon, and that's kind of how I got introduced to it. I thought it was cool, and I always kind of wanted to do it, but I never had any friends that wanted to do it. Until senior year, I met my friend Nikki, and she said, yeah, I'm into this, and I cosplay, and I go to conventions, and so we did our first cosplay together. This is where I keep most of my costumes. Some of them are still back in San Francisco. Furandere Scarlet, or Flan, or Flandre, embodiment of the Scarlet Devil. And this costume I made for Halloween. This is the skirt, and then this is essentially the top, and this is what's going to be a holster for wings. She's a little vampire girl from the game Toho Project. She was kept in the basement for a really long time. She has like kind of ungodly powers, and I think it's kind of cool that it's just like this little girl, but she has these like insane powers, and so she has to be locked away. And she's also really cute. So I thought it would be fun to cosplay her for Halloween because it had that Halloweenish vibe, and hopefully I'll get around to making her wings. Flan took about a month, I'd say, because I was still getting into the groove of college and costuming, and so it took a little bit longer, and I was also learning a lot of new things by myself without my mom's help, so it was kind of hard, and I messed up a couple times. I like a range of characters usually, and so I like the really cutesy ones, and I also like the kind of like rude ones that are more tomboyish. Marisa Kirisame, also from Toho Project. She's kind of like a human. She's an ordinary witch girl, and she studies a lot to be really good at magic, and she flies around on a broom, kind of like typical witch stuff. I think it's really pretty, and I don't know. I love Toho cosplays. They're like one of my new obsessions. Marisa, Marisa. Marisa ni. Marisa, Marisa. Marisa-san. It's not cosplay, but I guess other people would say it was. This is my Lolita dress. And Lolita is a street style in Japan. Basically, you go around dressed like a doll. I'm really happy that I do Lolita now because my friends have also gotten into Lolita, and so we all dress up together when I'm in the city, and it's a lot of fun. One of the earliest ones that's in here is this one, and it's my Hatsune Miku Clover Club. It's from her game Project Diva, and it's basically a Little Red Riding Hood outfit. This is one of my first like major like costumes, I guess. I wore it to Anime Expo for her concert. For her concerts, they digitally projected her onto a screen so it looked like she was actually there. And they actually had it so like she's about my height and her height thing, and so they made her 5'2" on the screen, so it's like this tiny little performer. It was really cool. And it was, I like cried the entire time. I was so excited. And because it's a Japanese game, I guess a lot of Japanese people were like, what? And so I got a lot of press for it. And then to go with her, this is like the little wolf that goes on your head. And it's really cute. I just really like the costume and everything about it. The Clover Club costume took about 2 weeks to make, and it was like super rushed because I graduated from high school, and then 2 weeks later was the concert, and I knew I wanted to make an outfit for the concert, and I knew it was going to be this outfit, so I like didn't do anything but sew for 2 weeks, especially because I was a beginner, but I had a lot of help from my mom every once in a while, but she was also working, so I kind of was on my own. I'll probably cosplay. I think I set a limit at 30. I think that at 30 maybe it'll just die out and I'll feel like too old, I guess, for cosplay. I don't know. People usually stop around 30. I cosplay because I've always enjoyed characters, and I always feel the need to pay tribute to things that I like in some way or another. I think cosplay is kind of like a creative outlet for that love of something. I also like the process of making costumes. I think sewing is kind of fun. I've always liked makeup and wigs and dressing up, and so like this kind of like all combined to be something that I just like really enjoy. It just becomes something cooler, I guess. I mean, you get to portray something you like. You get to like come out of like this world where I am Katie Mobley and become like a character that I really hold close to me. And so I think it's really cool to like be someone else for a day, but also like to see how other people react. I think it's all just kind of led up to this.